We live! We live! I'll see y'all a little bit. Oh, that's they really got seat in here. Seat. Yeah, 5 minutes.
1 hour later.
Can they hear me? Can y'all hear me? Check. Can y'all hear me? All right, so I apologize for being late. I went to the whole wrong, what's this place? I went to a whole nother Dave & Buster's an hour away. That shows you don't have to be smart to do this business, right? That's right. Man, give a round of applause for putting it together, for real. So this is beautiful, actually. So I'm buying less rentals unless they're just like slam dunk deals, because I personally, not that I'm anticipating or waiting on the next downturn or the next crash, but when that joker hits, I'm gonna buy everything I possibly can. I'm gonna go broke buying property when that happens. So right now I'm just trying to stack up, $10, $15 million in the bank so that when it comes time ready, I'm ready to just blow a bank. Yeah, so
Amen.
Answer is I need cash.
Do you mind if I get a quick
Absolutely. Cool, man. Here you go.
Mac, you know you are a celebrity, right?
No, I'm not.
I just met Jay-Z, y'all. I
wish.
I'm Chantel. I came all the way from New York just to meet you.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
And so I went on my appointment today, and I gave the seller my offer, and he pretty much like packed up the house, was like, all right, time to go. Boom. So my question to you is, what should my follow-up be? When he left the house, I said to him, look, if someone offers you something better, let me know. And that was pretty much the end of our conversation. So what should my follow-up be?
Yeah, so kind of one of my rules that me and Francis go back and we argue with my acquisition team is we actually try not to give out a number unless somebody is ready to sign that dotted line. I'll play that game for a couple hours if they want to play it in the house. Because it's the reality is I don't want to go in there and set the bar too high, right? Because there's been many times in the past where I've made mistakes. I've given my first offer and they've taken it, right? And I'm like, I lost, right? So I think the best thing is to really find out and have a real, because I know it was probably a rushed appointment. They felt like they wanted to they wanted the number. Yeah. So if you went there and all they wanted was the number, the best thing for you to do is dangle that carrot as long as you can until you get to build a rapport with that person and kind of figure out why they're really selling the property. How much money do they really need? What are they okay walking away with, right? And it's nothing wrong with saying, listen, I'm an investor. I have to make money. Money's expensive. So, I can't buy it top of the market. I can't buy it for retail value. If that's the case, you're better off listing it. But if you want to sell it fast, you want to get rid of it quickly, I'm the person you need to go with. But I kind of need to know where we are, right? And if he says, listen, I'm at 800 and you're at 5, ask him why he wants 8. and just start negotiating back and forth. Because I've seen people say they want this big number, but in reality, until they trust you, they're not gonna really tell you exactly how much they need and what they need it for. So your follow-up should just be, don't be desperate, first of all. Don't be like, hey, if somebody gives you a better offer, let me know, because that already tells me that you're willing to go higher. So I'm gonna call you and say, hey, look, somebody gave me 900. Now you just lost because you don't know if it's true or not, right? So if you give a number first, be ready to stick by that number and have that back and forth debate with the person as to why your number is actually the best. I try to, when I am forced to give a number, I try to give a ballpark, right? And that ballpark can be, I put out a video recently where I gave a lady a ballpark, I think of like $10,000 or $15,000. And the reality is I'm still gonna be $5,000 or $10,000 lower than what I actually said the low one was. But it was to get in the door, the conversation started, but I got the deal. We haven't seen the follow-up video yet, but we got the deal. And it was just that easy. So follow up, ask him, don't talk about, hey, did somebody else give you an offer? I would rather call them and say, you know, are you still interested in selling? Have you sold it yet? You know, let's talk about numbers. And I just follow up in a kindly way with him, just like a friend. Right. And I think that would be easy. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
What's going on?
How you doing?
My name is Tony. I'm originally from Raleigh, so I know
Okay.
you Winston Salem,
Yeah.
so definitely got to talk. But I had a conversation with a person I wanted to ask you. When it comes to your marketing and following up, after you make your first touch with a client, when do you follow up with a second marketing piece?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So in my company, all my leads are basically on a conveyor belt like FedEx or something. Every lead starts out at my cheapest marketing method and then goes all the way to my most expensive marketing method, which I'm direct mailing again, just to test to see how it works. So we'll go all the way from an RVM, cold call, you know, different methods that we have, text messaging, all the way to the end. So we run those things pretty quickly through a week. It could be 1 week you're at cold calling, the next week you're at RVMs, then it just goes.
So that's my question. So
yeah.
after you say you send an RVM, when do you wait to send the next piece of marketing if you don't hear back from the client?
Later that week or the next week.
Okay, so
Because we want to get to a yes or a no as quick as possible.
Okay.
That's the thing. If I got 100,000 leads in my database, I need to find out which one of those actually want to play ball. And I need to get there as fast as possible. Because if you decide to put this arbitrary number as I'm going to wait 3 weeks before I make the next phone call, and I call in between those 3 weeks and you did the introduction, you did all the pain work, and I just happen to call at the right time, then I get the deal and you call 3 weeks later and, oh, I sold it to Max. Then you're going to be mad, right? So go at it quick and let them tell you to leave me alone.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. How you doing?
Get a picture real quick.
Cool.
All right, so I'm going to do a shameless plug right here. My name is CJ. I'm with KNB.
It's cool, just go. That's not allowed. All right, we got it.
What's your best advice for cold calling?
So obviously plugs are not allowed. Rule established. We're good with that. All right. Right? Nothing, you gotta try it, right?
Opportunity.
You gotta knock on the door, right? So for our biggest thing with cold calling is consistency. We have dedicated people that are on the phones every single hour of the day as far as when the work week, and we consistently call. And we have so many leads that, like I said, the conveyor belt, it goes through. But you gotta be able to cold call consistently, over and over. Are you doing them yourself or are you outsourcing it?
I'm a caller myself, yes.
Yeah, so you gotta be on it. You gotta spend those 5-6 hours a day doing it to really see the benefit of it.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
How you doing? I'm Greg Harris from Home Buyers. I'm doing AdWords campaigns, and if you could help me understand what's the best way to structure an ad when using the Google AdWords campaign system and not get so many people who've already got a realtor looking to sell a home or just looking to use you to move to the next place.
So back in the days, I used to try to run my own ad campaign, and I ran across that same thing. So now I'm in the part where our business where I was burning, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month trying to do it myself, to where I just outsourced it. So I have a company that I pay like $3,000 a month to run it, and then we have like a $5,000 or $6,000 a month budget to run ads. One thing that I do know is that you need to reduce the amount of keywords because your keywords are also triggering regular buyers. So you need to find out the best keywords in your market. Sell home fast, sell home quickly, all those keywords that are not related to just like sell my home. Sell my home is typically somebody looking to get a retail value. And I know those clicks are expensive, so you know, I would definitely outsource it. Because you can.
What type of company are you outsourcing to?
A company that specializes in running Google ads. But you'll find companies that run PPC ads for you. Absolutely. Cool, man. Thank you. It's hot as a black church up in here, ain't it?
It is.
I need me a church fan. Ooh, she got the real one.
You don't even know how to do it, though.
Hi, I'm Tanya. I'm here with my husband Jermaine. We're from Odenton. We have a question. Let's say you get a property under contract. Is it a good idea to put it on Zillow if you don't have a list of buyers?
No. No. And I'll tell you why.
Tell me why.
So, as wholesalers, we're not selling the property, right? And Zillow doesn't give you the option. I know you can write a description, but I know some people do it. You ask for my opinion, I would say no.
Yeah, we lost that on the $70,000 deal when we did it.
Yeah, because what happens is you don't know who's going to see that, and you don't know who's going to call the homeowner and offer more, or it could be a cousin. Hey, I thought you sold your house for this. Why is it on here for this? So the best thing, and I say this a lot, it's better to get half of a watermelon than all of a grape. So the reason why we come together like this is because if you get a deal and you said you missed out on $70,000 wholesale spread, well, you got all of what? Nothing, a grape. When you could have reached out to somebody in this room that has a buyer's list that's been doing this and split the deal, and you would have walked away with $35,000, which is half of a watermelon.
We tried that first.
It didn't work. So that's a good thing. So don't JV with anybody, right? There are people out here that do this, that disposition deals. Y'all disposition deals for other people? Your buyers. So it's important. It's a big part of the business. Is how do you sell a deal once you get it, right? If you're not in the circle of people that's got, you know, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 to play with, then it's hard to break into that. And that's why we go to so many networking events and we spend so much money going to conferences to network with people. So next time you get something under contract, which is common, you can get a whale of a deal but have nobody to sell it to. So reach out to people that you know are doing deals. And most of the people on Facebook that say they're doing deals are not. So reach out to somebody that you know are doing deals. Cool?
All right, thank you.
Absolutely, you're welcome.
Hey, what's going on, brother? My name is Demetrius. My partner, Deshaun. Hello? Yeah, here we go. And yeah, so my question was, we started hiring, we got VAs, and what was your biggest obstacle in hiring like a virtual versus hiring in-house? Because I know you do both.
Yeah. So my first $1 million was made overseas, and I think and Antoine can speak to this too because he's just went crazy with VAs. But the point I want you to just take out of your mind is stop calling these people virtual assistants. Let's just say they're employees, right? So let's just say I come along and you want to hire me and you give me a desk to sit down. What do you have to do? You got to train me. You got to train me good. Or I'm not going to be able to be half of what you want. And in 3 weeks, what you going to look at me and try to do? You're going to fire me. Right? But you don't have your systems and processes written down, documented, so that when you hire an employee, they can come into your office and just do what you're exactly supposed to do. So we're using this new system called Trainual, where we record every single thing in our company, from how do you get the company email, how do you set up payroll, how do you sell a deal, disposition deal. It's all based on each person's job title. And there's videos for each thing. So you need to document your own systems so that when you onboard a new employee, you can give them videos to match their job descriptions and stuff like that, and the processes you want to do. Now, at the point where I am, Alexis, one of my first VAs, she does pretty much everything for me, right? She runs a lot, she pulls leads. I don't even have to really go look for lead lists anymore. She does those things on her own. So don't call them VAs. Don't look at them any worse than like us as people. They're just employees that don't live here. Yeah, because I think there's a big disconnect on that. These are just real people. They just happen to live a 23-hour flight somewhere else. Make sense? Cool. So train your VAs and have a budget to where you have 6 months. You have a roadway of them not being able to do it, or just hire VAs that are already done.
That's what we got.
Okay.
I want to give a shout out because we got it from
So
Antoine.
there you go. Train them.
Shout out to Antoine. Yeah.
And even when you hire them from Antoine, you still have to train them to your exactly how you do it. So he's getting you people that are already in the real estate field and understand Podio, CRMs, the terms, but they need to know your operation. Make sense?
Yeah, that does.
Cool. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing good. My name is Brittany. So this is a structural question.
I remember you. You don't think I remember you?
Oh, you do?
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right, so tomorrow I have an appointment with a seller that I met. He has a 3-unit building.
Okay.
It needs a total gut, and I'm having some challenges trying to figure out how to structure the deal because it needs, like I said, a total gut, but he's willing to hold paper on it with no down payment. And I'm not in a position to I'm really interested in wanting to keep it holding myself. It's in Baltimore in the Poppleton neighborhood, but it's right across the street from a apartment building that some people from French just spent $100 million on. So the right now valuation is around between maybe $270,000 to $300,000, but in 5 years it could be worth so much more because of gentrification and things like that.
Yeah.
And I want to assign the deal, but I don't know how to. Okay. I don't know how to. Well, I don't know how much to charge you for it. That's
That makes sense. But that's a great question. You got a lot of moving parts in there, and the reason why these events are so important is because you have people here that you can network. I guarantee you, in this room, just from everybody in here, there could be $1 million made in the next 30 days. I promise you. Right? People just you don't think that, but it could be $1 million made just from the connections you have in this room today. So when we go to the networking part, make sure you speak to whoever raised their hand back there and said they wanted. Raise your hand. There you go, April. Right? And if April doesn't want it, she could probably tell you who does and what to do with it. See what I'm saying? So network, and that's a good part. We have to get outside of our comfort zone. You have to go to places that make you feel uncomfortable to find people you've never spoken to before. One of the things that I went to cigar shops, and I would buy a $20 cigar, and I didn't like smoking at the time, and I would just sit there and listen to the conversations and talk to people. And I have some of my best cash buyers come out of going to a cigar shop and just hanging out. So go to places you haven't been before to meet people you've never met before. Make sense? All right. How you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm good. Thank you. Let me get a picture with you. One time, bro. Thank you.
Sorry, my name is Brian. I'm from Baltimore. Basically, I got a mentor, paid him $2,000. I was living in California a few months ago, just moved back here to start my business for real, close friends of mine. He told me the best way to find deals would be to call realtors. I did, and he said, ask for all kinds of properties. It don't seem to be working. It's been tiring. And I looked up the list of realtors, and they say you got 8,000 realtors in Maryland.
Yeah.
I've called maybe 50 to 100, and I've maybe gotten 3 people that say, oh, I get off market, and I don't see one. Everybody else is like, nah, click. I know you say driving for dollars is the best, or your best way.
Best way to start.
Okay, well, you can help me out with this.
Yeah. So, actually, your mentor wasn't completely wrong. It's all about the approach, how you do it. So if you have 8,000 brokers in Baltimore, the best way I would do is they have a list of all the emails for each Baltimore, and I would template the email and structure it and write it the way the best sounds, like you have experience, you're an investor, you have cash, and you would love to see every single deal that they have that they think they can't sell on the MLS. And send that email out to an autoresponder or some type of message, and you'll be surprised on the deals you actually will get. Because a lot of realtors will walk past or turn down listings because it's just a gut job on a 3-story, and they were like, nah, I don't want to list that. But if you put a bug in there at the right time, because they're in the business of real estate, they may end up calling you. And out of 8,000 people, you probably can get a couple emails a week of just deals that you can say yay or nay to. So that's not the worst thing. Would I start out doing it? It's probably cheap if you can get that list. I know that list is floating around somewhere. Yeah, so it's not a bad way to start that, but there's so many other ways to start, you would say. Baltimore, I know driving for dollars is still effective. I know people hate doing it, but it's an effective way to, one, learn the neighborhoods you're trying to be an expert in, and two, find things that never end up on lists. You know, there's things you can put your eyes on and physically see that it's distressed, it's empty, and you can make an offer, you know, use some type of skip tracing software where you can do one-offs and call those persons. You know, like I said, I think, you know, my first deal was on my 3rd house I ran across. And that's because I physically was driving in a neighborhood and seeing it distressed. So there's way more methods. I know driving sucks, but you just gotta do it. It don't suck bad enough to make $10,000, $15,000, right? Cool. So keep grinding, man. Absolutely. How you doing?
Thank you. Hi, Max. Hi, DMD. My name is Erin Renee. And my question is about budget. So I struggle with that every month. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's $100, sometimes it's $500. I'm talking like, you know, the software we need, you know, PropStream, Deal Machine. Where should we be? Like, what should our budget be? Where should we be when we're trying to make money?
So that's a good question. People get it a lot. I know I talk about softwares and tools that can help you, but the reality is you don't need none of them, right? So if you look at like Christina, I think Christina just got a website like 2 weeks ago, and she hasn't had a CRM ever. So you just look at stuff like that, but what she's real good at is networking. You know, everybody in the city she knows her. I mean, everybody in that city that's in real estate knows her. So you just you pick your lane. If your budget is low, go somewhere that you don't have to have a budget. Because networking costs you how much? $0. So don't struggle with buying different things, and because next thing you know, you're gonna have $500 worth of subscriptions each month. And then you're not gonna use any of them, right? But if I had to say, because when I first started driving for dollars, there was no deal machine. It was screenshots on your iPhone and go home and Google and then put them in Zillow later. So that costs nothing. I would have Redfin open and I would have Zillow open and I would put a pin on it on the Apple Maps, screenshot it and go home and look at it later. And then I found the Outland Glide, which made it easier for me to screenshot it there. It cost me $10 a month. And then I met David at a conference, and then I found Deal Machine. So, you know, there's a level of Deal Machine that's only like $49, $50 a month. But if I were you, I wouldn't even dive into that if you don't have the budget to send the postcards. All you need to do is drive and collect data, and then go back home and use that internet you're already paying for, and then skip trace them on free websites, find out what works on the free websites, take the ones that you didn't get, go to a paid website, and then use those. And dial with the cell phone you got right now. Like, you gotta use the resources you have, because if not, you're never gonna move forward. You're just gonna have excuses like, oh, I got this, I can't spend it this month. Well, you're already paying for internet at the house, and your cell phone is, I guarantee, ain't nobody in here without a cell phone. That's the bill you always gonna pay. So those are the two things you need to use, right? So get with Christina, get other people that run a very lean business, and pick their brain as far as like what they use and how they manage themselves. Make sense? Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you. Hi, Max. Hi, everyone.
How you doing?
My name is Heather, and my question is, I started the journey of real estate investing and wholesaling earlier this year. I actually still am currently working my full-time job. So my question is about VAs. It's like, is it too soon for me to attempt to have someone help me? Because the challenge that I'm finding is the time to actually make the calls. I've got resources to get lists. I've got even resources to get all that skip trace. So, like I said, is it too soon? Should I still be trying to, make the calls myself? And then, even economically, is it better to get someone who is local in the States, or should I focus on overseas?
So I think there's a couple ways to approach it. How I would dive in is I would get RVM software, and I would have that RVM working while you're at work. And when the people call back, it goes to a voicemail. So that when you get off of work, as soon as you get in your car, I don't care if you don't even leave the parking lot, you start listening to the voicemails of people that are actually interested in talking to you. Because you don't have the time, which is our most valuable thing right now, because you're at your W-2. And listen, don't go out here quitting y'all W-2. I don't know who's going out there talking that shit. Don't quit your W-2, okay? Because if that's what's paying your bills, you're only working 40, 50 hours a week. There's way more hours in a week than 40 or 50. You can carve out 2-3 hours a day to spend on your business, and when it makes you money and you save enough and you feel comfortable, then quit your W-2. Understand what I'm saying? So don't fall into that trap of people spreading that stuff, because they ain't gonna help you pay your bills when that light bill comes, right? So I would, if it was me, I would take the RVM system, have it making calls while you're at work, get all the voicemails of people that want to talk to you while you're off to work from 5 to 8, make those phone calls of the people back, and be honest with them. Be like, hey, look, I'm looking to buy some rental property. I do work a 9 to 5, wherever that is. That makes actually people feel comfortable that you have a 9 to 5 and you're out here buying property. Look, I'm looking to buy a couple rental properties. That's a great story, right? And then continue a conversation from there. Say, look, I really only can talk usually between 5 and 8. Sometimes I can talk on my lunch. People respect that because everybody understands job in America, right? So do that so that it makes a bunch of, don't go out there and quit your job. You have the resources, you can skip trace, you can do RVM. When it gets to another point, then I would think about getting a VA once you get some volume. But you don't have to go out and do that now. Let that voicemail work for you for a little bit. Yeah, do RVM, look at RVM. You're welcome. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's going on, man?
How you doing, brother?
My name is Rob. I just had a real quick question for so you mentioned about emailing realtors, compiling that list and then emailing realtors. Do you see any benefit of emailing them in a group message or multiple realtors at once to create a frenzy, or is that more a bad thing?
No. So I think, are you trying to get them to give you deals? Or are you trying to get them to help?
I'm actually looking for cash buyers.
So you're looking for cash buyers. I think you're gonna find realtors that deal, 98% of realtors deal with traditional home buyers and sellers. Then there's a very small portion of them that live in that investment world. They're not hard to find. They're at your RIAs, they're at the what do you call them? Beer and real estate meetups and stuff, all that type of stuff, right? Everybody's got, and they're right here, yeah, your meetups, they're here at your local meetups. So these are people that work strictly, mainly with investors, and you reach out to them. I think one of the big things that we don't do is we stay at home, we watch YouTube videos, we go on the Facebook groups, but we never leave our house to actually go out and network with people. It's powerful to go out and network with people. It's one of the best and cheapest things you can do, because believe it or not, investors have to spend money. That's how they make money. So they're actively looking for deals to buy, because without deals they don't eat. You know what I'm saying? So you're solving that problem for them. So just go out and network. I would be doing these after work 3 to 4 times a week, and get your elevator pitch down. And it's just like a quick, what do you call it, speed dating. You're gonna be speed dating with other investors to find out what they need and where you can sell deals to. Make sense? You got it, man. Good luck to you.
What's up, man? I'm back. So I was outside of your VA.
See, and this the type of guy get 2 plates before y'all eat your first plate, right? Y'all better watch out for him.
So outside of your VAs, I'm sorry. Outside of your VAs, who are your most important people in your business that's physical that you talk to, and how did you vet them, and why did you choose them?
So outside of my first, so let me give my structure. So my first VA was an admin VA. That admin VA did work while I slept. So when I woke up in the morning, I had numbers to call. Then once we
I'm sorry, so what they were doing, skip tracing, and they were doing?
all of the above. They're pulling leads. I would create a video on how to use my county website to find like divorce leads and tax delinquent. And I would create that video, and at night, Alexis would create that that list for me. So I wake up in the morning, and every day I want at least 200 people to call, and that was my thing. So once Bandenstein started working and all that stuff, and calls kept coming in, then I hired Leica. Now Leica's job was to be my lead manager, to make those phone calls, to answer those phone calls while I was doing my thing. I was either on the phone or on an appointment. That's what I did every day. And then after I hired that one, I hired a cold caller, Paul, to make those phone calls for me every single day. Then I hired another cold caller. So then that was my virtual structure. And then after that, I found Francis. The funny thing is, I found Francis selling him a home. And he happened to be a realtor that works with investment properties. He was his broker. He was his own brokerage. And then we became, not partners because we're not legally in any partnership, but he became a disposition person for him. What I was solving a problem for him is he worked with investors and he couldn't find them homes. And I was giving him 3-4 houses a month, right? So then we became so tight that we started working together. So I think one of the most important things that I've got outside of hiring virtually was I had a guy that can go on appointments with when I wasn't on appointments. So another acquisitions person. And because he is Hispanic, he also speaks Spanish, so he's able to disposition a lot of my deals to the Hispanic market that I didn't have a connection with, right? So then the next person I hired was a transaction coordinator. This person makes sure that once we bring the contract back to the office, they handle everything from what I would call the 50-yard line to the end zone. That's the term that I use. The 50-yard line is getting the contract. You still have 50% to go to get it done. So she would handle the communication between the buyer, the seller, and the closing attorney. And she did that rinse and repeat because I got to get back on the street and I got to get more and more contracts. I can't stop my business to find buyers, or I can't stop my business to make sure it gets all the way to the end zone. And then once I got that, I started adding more salespeople to my team. These are people that sat in the office and made phone calls to very niche lists as probates, things that evictions.
What's the secret list that's on your YouTube?
Man, that's old. We've been talking about that. The secret.
I'm new to you.
Wait, what's the secret list that was on YouTube a long time ago? The water list. The water list.
Okay, see, I still did.
Yeah, so you got some more watching to do. So we would call things like the water list and stuff like that. But the point that I'm making is I slowly grew my team, and as you see, what I did was every hire separated me from working in the business. So every time I hired somebody, I freed up more time to do what I want to do. Now I'm at the point where I don't have to be there, right? So I can come and do things like these in the middle of the week. I can do whatever I want to do, and my business can basically run without me. I still sign all the contracts from my phone, but that's about it. I still send the wires, but that's about it. So I own a business, I don't work in it. Right, and I think that's the goal that everybody wants to get into.
So how long did it take you to get to that point?
So, September 28,
I only got one question.
September 28, 2016 was my first contract. 16? Yeah, 16. So I'll be at 3 years in September.
How you doing? My name is Baptiste. So one of the questions that I had is, how did you take your business, well, you kind of answered some of it, but now that you're in the state that you're at, what partnerships have you made to kind of take you from owning a business to that mobile stage?
First of all, I'm not at a mobile stage at all. I'm still growing and doing things now. We just got a new 7,000 square foot office. So I'm still growing. We're still going to the next level. I think one of the things is just entrepreneurship. I think I'm so willing to bet on myself every time. Like when I had just started and I was making $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month, I would empty my entire account getting to the next month. Does that make sense? I would bet on myself knowing that I would put 40,000 out and hopefully get 60 back. In some way, whether that be investing in people, systems, softwares, or whatever it was. I'm always a risk taker to take that next leap to go to the next thing. So you need to find out what's in your business that allows you to step away. First, there's things that you're not good at, right? I'm not good at certain things as well, like organization and making sure the systems run day to day. I'm not that good at it. But there's things you're great at. So the first thing you have to do is find out what you're not good at and supplement it with other people. Make sense? And then once you stabilize that, then you start to hire at what you're good at so you can separate yourself from the day-to-day operation. Make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You gotta get one of these for the gram.
For the gram, y'all. Awesome, man. Thank you, Baptiste. We're back.
I'm back again. Hey, everybody. So we all know how important money is in this business. You come up with a few great ideas as to how to generate money. For example, coming out to this amazing meetup, I just want to thank everyone who's put this together. I know this can't happen with one or two people, so this is awesome. It's amazing. Look how many people are here. What are some out-of-the-box ideas that you can give us for finding private money? People with money who are looking to invest, as well as going to seminars, as well as going to meetings. For example, you said sitting in a cigar shop, just having a cigar.
Yeah. So that's a good question. Raising private money is an important part of growing. One of the things that I do is I go to events non-real estate related. So if you look where money is, there's companies that administrate people's IRAs, right? So one company is like Quest, American IRA. So Quest actually holds like an annual event. And you should just buy a ticket and go. Because everybody that bought a ticket to go there to learn how to manage money probably got money. So you gotta go do things outside of the box. Another thing is go to your people, like your local Morgan Stanley guy, right? I know he probably doesn't want to take money off of his books, but he has clients that want to pull money away from the stock market. And if you build a relationship with them, and where it's mutually beneficial to you and the other person, they'll call you and say, hey, look, my guy wants to pull $250,000 off the books. What can you do? I mean, these are real conversations I'm pretty sure we've all had by going outside the box. So the best way to find real estate money is outside of the real estate business, right? Because there's $6.4 trillion in unrealized capital gains in America. Does that make sense? $6.4 trillion. So go outside of the real estate business. Makes sense? Yeah, you're welcome. How you doing?
Hi, how you doing, Max? Okay, quick question. I didn't stop. I just had to step back. I've been cold calling now, cold calling from Craigslist, from this list, from that list. And I'm doing about 8 hours a day. We have plenty of buyers, but I'm tired of taking deals to my buyers, and it just doesn't make sense to them. So when you're building a reputation in this business, you don't want to keep presenting your buyers with deals
that don't make sense.
And that people really aren't giving you the true value. So where do you get to that point where you begin to cut off, the cold calling and connecting the buyers and getting the correct information? Yes, we have I look it up, I go to probate, I have a system to where it gives me all the name and information, the mortgage and all this other stuff. So I have that in place. But now it's just connecting a buyer with a real seller.
So that's a good question. I think basically what she's pointing out is I guess the way I see it is your main problem is finding actually true deals, right? So we all, like I tell, buyers are buyers. They're everywhere. There's no shortage of buyers. Just said $6.4 trillion of unrealized capital gains. So basically, you need to ask them, since you have good relationships with it, what is it you are looking for and where are you looking for it at, right? So if you're selling fish to a seafood tuna joint, but you're fishing in a bass pond, and every fish you catch, they're not gonna buy it. So you need to know what the other part of the business, the 50-yard line to the end zone, is knowing what buyers want and where.
So I need to be more picky at what I take to them, even though people say
100%. You can. I've seen wholesalers ruin their reputation very quickly by bringing JV deals that make no sense, or bringing deals to somebody that make absolutely no sense. And one thing that I'm struggling with creating is how do I create a video that tells people how to ethically go out and do this business, right? And that ethic can mean anything to anybody, but we're not governed by a body like realtors and stuff are. So we really got to be careful going out here and putting deals under contracts without the right contract and without knowing the actual numbers, because these are real life people we're dealing with and we're problem solving. So I think what you should focus on is maybe learning how to run your numbers better so that you can actually truly get deals, because once you find deals, buyers are everywhere, and I think you know that.
I got a whole slew of buyers. It's just about when you get that deal and then I take it to them and then something goes wrong. We run the numbers, but there's missing information that I didn't get because it wasn't given.
Sometimes things blow up at the title company, at the attorney, right? Those happen. I've had 4 deals in the last 2 weeks fall through because of liens that were, just didn't make it through title. That's part of the business. When you start doing volume, you're actually going to go see more of those. But if you have all these buyers, you need to connect with other people in this room that actually have real deals.
I have with some, and some have made it, some haven't.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's your thing. You got buyers. Go find sellers. Either you're finding them yourself or get them from other people.
All right.
You're welcome.
Selfie time.
Selfie time.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. How you doing, brother?
Hey, what's up? So I got a deal. Can you still wholesale a pre-foreclosure that has an auction date?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if it's next week, I can wholesale it this week if I get a buyer.
You can wholesale a deal in my state 10 days after the auction. In North Carolina, we have a 10-day, no, it's not a redemption, it's a confirmation of sale. And if the judge doesn't confirm the sale and it takes them 10 days, then you can still buy it or still sell it. So yeah, so I think one thing, I get this question a lot, like how do I wholesale a pre-foreclosure? If the numbers make sense, if what they owe is less, if they got a lot of equity in the deal, you can still wholesale it. Listen, the house is the homeowner's house until the bank takes title, point blank, right? And if you got a contract on it and you got a solid buyer, in some states you can actually call the trustee, which is whoever works for the bank, and say, listen, here goes the title, here goes a contract, we're gonna buy this house. And most of the time they'll back away. Yeah, absolutely. How you doing?
Sabrina Franco, nice meeting you. I have a question more of a entrepreneur instead of real estate. My husband and I, Carlos, we are flipping about 3, 4 properties at a time. And we just keep on thinking, how do we take it to the next level? How do we scale our business? We probably know about 25% of the wholesalers here. So our business is running mostly on wholesalers. How do we go to the next level?
So, flipping is not a scalable business. That's the truth. The only thing you can do, I know we're in a room full of wholesalers, is you gotta be wholesaling yourself. Because that's exactly what my company's set up. I find deals, I keep the ones I wanna flip, and I sell the other ones to other flippers, right? Because if I brought you and your husband 10 deals right now, do you think you can manage all 10 flips?
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Could you manage 20 flips at a time? 30 flips? You can't scale it. So your cap is you can probably do 5 at a time. So that's your it. So you got to find some other sources of income, and that could just be from wholesaling deals yourself. Hate to say it, but you got to cut the wholesale out. If you want to scale your business, because you too need to find deals. I do the same thing. But I buy deals from wholesalers too. I just bought one yesterday. So I flip deals myself, the ones that are real juicy, and other ones I just kick down the road to somebody else. Make sense?
Yes.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Hello, Max.
How you doing, brother?
My name is Anthony. I'm here with my wife, Ebony, here in the back. So my question is about objection handling. So I had a customer who was actually referred to me by a friend, and she inherited a house because her father passed away. They're in Herndon, Virginia. And she was ready to go, you know, they didn't really need much work to try to get the deal from her. But her husband, who was sick in California, was like, no. I want to hold on to it. Amazon is coming. We could probably get more from it, you know, a year from now. Let's just wait. So how do you handle an objection handling situation where one spouse is ready to go and the other spouse is saying no?
Yeah. So that's a good question. You got one spouse ready to sell, the other one doesn't ready to sell. You can't do anything about it. But what you can do is be due diligent on your follow-up. Because eventually the fight happens between them, not you. So let that fight happen. But what you gotta do is stay in contact with them. If you stay in contact with the wife on a weekly, bi-weekly text message, postcard, email, how you doing? How was the soccer game? How is little Michelle doing? Every other week, something like that, then you stay at the top of her mind. And when that fight is done between them, you'll still be around, right? Because the husband is on speculation, but they want to sell it obviously because they need money. One wants money now and one is saying, well, we can wait. So there's nothing we can't turn things into deals. We can find deals. We don't make them, right? So stay in contact with them, follow up, and if you do it the right way, you'll get the deal if it ever becomes one. Make sense?
Makes sense.
You will. Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
I'm not the wife.
She made that clear. I'm not the wife.
Don't play me.
What's up, dog?
What's up, man?
How you doing? Good to see you.
How are you?
Doing well.
Long time.
Yeah. That thing?
My name is Lily and everyone. I have a partner, George, back there.
Your brother.
Yeah, my brother, yeah.
She's like, I got a partner.
So we have land under contract and we're having a tough time getting rid of it. So 2 questions. How do you comp land? And what's the best way to find cash buyers? I know Eddie helped out a little bit. He helped out a little bit, but I want to hear what you have to say about that.
You know, to be honest, I have never wholesale land. No, I haven't. Never have. Not land. I've never done it. So because I'm not a guru, I won't sit here and try to tell you something I don't know. I've never done it.
What about comping it?
Comp, it's tough. You know, I know a rule in North Carolina is that they will never pay more than 20% of the project on the land. So if a house down the street sold for $100,000 a new build, right? Just throwing round numbers, then they will never pay more than $20,000 for a lot. Make sense? And then, but you got all these variables in it. Can it perk? Can it be built on? Is it just agricultural? What's the zoning? You know, you got all these variables, but I've never done it. But I'm trying to have a conversation with this guy named Jack Bosch pretty soon. Yeah, so I heard he came highly recommended, so maybe look into something that he's got. Boom.
Any realtor that sell a lot of land?
Where's it at?
It's in Jersey.
It's in Jersey. What part of Jersey?
South Jersey, Magnolia.
Magnolia.
There's one back there. I can choose one person. All right, let's talk after. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right, I'm back. Just so you know, a lot of people couldn't get in, so people are asking questions for those people who couldn't get in. But this is actually...
Where they at, outside?
No, they in our Facebook group.
Okay.
So I told you I'm from New York. I'm actually going to run for New York State Assembly in 2020. My question is, how can I be mindful of wholesaling when I go into that state office? I want to take care of us, because I know we always take care of...
Didn't you ask me this question before?
No.
You sure?
I haven't.
All right.
We take care of, tenants often, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I'm also an investor, right? So I want to protect us as well. So what should I be thinking about going into office next year?
I don't know if I have the answer for that one.
Stay connected when you find an answer.
Yeah, so what I will say is gentrification is bound to happen, right? I think what we have to do is maybe change the narrative on all gentrification because it's not all bad. There's parts of what people used to consider the hood that's been gentrified where people have benefited from it greatly. Unfortunately, you can't stop the sale of something we don't own. So that's why we're all here, to be able to learn about home ownership, investment of property and land, so that the next go round, we're part of the gentrification and not displaced for gentrification. Make sense? So I don't have the best answer right now, but I'm sure you'll find it. I know you will.
You think of anything? I want to know.
I will. Maybe I'll think about it. I might do a rant or a video about it. Thank you.
How y'all doing, everybody? My name's Renee. So, quick question. It's based on the numbers. When you're doing your numbers and you get an amount lower than what the person owes, is that no longer a deal? How do you leave the seller responsible for that? Is that you get bill report and find out that they can still pay the rest, or what do you do?
Yeah. So I guess your question is, you run your numbers, a person owes $100,000 on the house, but the most you can pay is $80,000. So I've seen deals where sellers have actually brought the cash to closing. It's happened. Sometimes people want to get out of the situation that they're in. I haven't seen it that often, but then you have to start getting into creative real estate financing, right? So you have, like my mentor, Mr. Robinson, he was here, right? Brian Aribu talks about creative financing. I do creative financing, but through the guide of Mr. Robinson. So I do sub-twos quite more often than I used to. But my first year in wholesaling, I probably threw away a dozen to 15 sub-two deals because I didn't want to end up in court, right? So I needed to learn exactly how to do it the proper way and made sure I was actually financially secure enough to make those payments, whether I put somebody in that house or not, or I figure out what to do with it. So you're starting to get into the creative financing. Yes, it's 100% possible.
Right. So are you keeping it for yourself at that point, or can you JV it when you do that?
All of the above. A couple things that I do with sub-twos. I take a sub-two, I start making the mortgage payments, I turn it into an Airbnb, right? So mortgage payment might be $1,000, I want to make $4,000 off of Airbnb a month. I cash flow $3,000 a month. Another thing I do is I do sub-two rehabs, where I'll take over the mortgage, not take over, I will make the mortgage payments for the person that has it, the property will be deeded over to me in a trust, and then I will do the rehab, necessarily, hopefully below $10,000 to $15,000, whatever makes sense for the numbers, and then I'll put it back on the market, usually within a month or so, and sell it for retail. So I never actually purchased it where I paid off the mortgage, but when it goes to the final closing, hopefully if I did it right, I get more than what is owed on the property. But we're talking about creative financing. I don't really talk too much about it because I'm not that comfortable with it yet, but there's Mr. Robinson, and then you have Brian Aribu. Those two guys I trust, I know. The best. Oh, the best. I thought you was cutting me off because I said something wrong. My bad. So, yeah, I would do those two. Absolutely.
For the gram.
Nice to see you in person.
Thank you.
How do you go about finding your acquisitions manager and transaction coordinator?
Man. So, a lot of people say the toughest part of this business is finding deals. Not the truth. The toughest part of this business is finding other people that you can work with and that have the same amount of enthusiasm and energy as you do. So, I hire and I fire very fast. It's just the way it goes. We had a guy in our office last week, lasted 4 days, right? But then we're hiring again. So I just keep going. Anybody that's ever owned a business know that hiring people is the worst thing ever. Worst, right? It's the absolute worst. I don't care what business it is. So just keep going. If you're looking for acquisition guys, look for people that already are in a commission-based business, such as car dealers, salesmen, people that go door to door with pest control, people that sell AT&T or whatever your cable services are, they knock door to door. Those are the people that are used to getting the no's. No's don't phase them no more, so you don't have to teach that. All you gotta do is teach them how you wanna operate. So those are qualities, hire for qualities. It's okay to steal people from other jobs. Go to a car lot, acting like you're gonna test drive a car, get in a car, go down the street, say you looking for a job, right? Do that about 3 or 4 different dealerships about twice a week. You're gonna find somebody. Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome, man.
What's going on? So my question is have you used 30-year hard money, and how do you feel about these new hard money programs that are coming out that are for 15, 30 years?
Listen, if it all makes sense with the numbers, then use it. I know I've got some emails from companies now doing rental hard money, I guess it is. Right? Y'all seen it? Is it Lima, something like that? I'm pretty sure everybody's doing it now. If the numbers make sense and you have an exit strategy that where you will make money, use it. All money costs something. I prefer private money. It's less hassle. So the question is no, I've never used hard money. I've only used private money.
Okay.
Yeah. So network. I know you know somebody that has money. And how you ask for it is, you see a rich person, you say, do you know anybody that wants to invest in real estate? Don't ask that person, ask them, and they might say, well, I know somebody, but what about me? Right? So it's how you ask the question.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it?
Yep.
Cool. Selfie time?
Yep, selfie real quick.
For the
book. It ain't for the gram, for this book.
Yeah, go ahead.
You kind of big, so I ain't gonna put my arms around you. Just go Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Good meet.
Likewise. Here you go.
All right, so this is a question somebody that wanted to ask that they're not in here. They wanted to know, how do you wholesale historical land with a tax freeze?
Can I phone a friend? You got an answer? All right. I think I'm still gonna be working back here. Oh shit, we can go back here.
Hi, how are you, friend?
How you doing, Christina?
Okay, you are gonna wholesale it the same exact way. Usually what a tax freeze is, it just means that the taxes, there's like an abatement, so they can't increase the taxes for 10 years or 5 years or whatever amount of years you have on that. But it's wholesale the same exact way. If anything, it's a plus. If it's a rental property and you don't have to pay tax on it. Or it's at a set amount. Hi, Christina Spells, St. Louis, Missouri.
Y'all know Christina, don't act grand, man. Y'all know who Christina is. If you don't, you better find out she's crazy. You're welcome.
Hi,
How you doing?
I'm Shantae. Hi, Max. First of all, I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I think you're an inspiration, true testament of grind paying off, so congratulations.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
So my question is, I know you're predominantly in Winston-Salem. I think I've seen you maybe doing some stuff with Real Estate Bureau in Charlotte, but predominantly North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
So my question is, at what point, or myself, I'm in Cleveland, Ohio market, but I live here in DC.
Okay.
At what point should I feel comfortable with venturing out and taking the business to other markets? Would you suggest, say I have a $2,000 marketing budget monthly, would you suggest dominating just one city and one market? Or would I be spreading myself thin if I decide to put 3,000 here, 4,000 here, and going into different markets?
Several markets.
Yeah.
Great question. Where Antoine go? So I would concentrate on one market. So I operate several markets. I don't really talk about it because I don't want everybody to run into those markets like they do Winston-Salem. Like they do Winston-Salem. I got like 1,000 wholesales in Winston-Salem now. It's cool though. So what I would do is use data to figure out exactly where you should go. And once you find out the data, because it's all in the proof of the pudding, right? Don't spread yourself thin. And then you want to make sure you have the systems. That's the reason why I want to call Antoine, because he learned the systems on how to go out there virtually and dominate it. And he became very good at training his virtual assistants. Make sense? So if you have good help, you can go to a market very quickly. Make sense? Thank you. Yes, please. Let's go. Thank you. Here you go, sir. It's messing up now, so there you go.
How you doing, Max?
You're doing well.
My name's Hayes. I'm out of Baltimore. April, I want to talk to you before we leave tonight.
She said that's what's up.
My question for you is, what is your opinion on the Burr method for buying holds?
Good. So I think that works great. If you have a good W-2 job and you can back up that you can afford this Burr strategy. Is everybody familiar with the Burr strategy? So it's buy, rehab, refinance. Yeah, exactly. What he said. Basically, you buy the damn house, you rehab it, you rent it out, then you refinance it, and then you repeat. It's Burr. Right? So the Burr strategy is a great strategy. It's been very told very well. Yeah, I thought she had something to add. But yeah, it works well. I know that at a certain point, a traditional bank or a credit union is going to stop you at around 5 or 6 deals, and then you got to find another method of 5. Yep, so somebody said 5. So then there's another method you have to move into. So what I would do is build relationships now with hard money lenders or private lenders that do, or just people, other people in your job that have IRAs and say, listen, I can give you an 8, 9, 10% return and make 15%. Make sense? Basically arbitraging other people. So get private money very quickly because you're going to burr 5 very fast and then scale some other direction. But the burr works for sure. Thank you, sir. How you doing? I'm good.
So my question is just, I've been running into a problem where if I get a contract for assignment, the seller is asking for the EMD, but I don't have it myself.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you get around that? Because I know the cash buyer would.
Yeah. So earnest money deposit does not go to the seller. So one thing we have to do is we have to educate our seller on the process of how this works. Now, on my contract, there's 2 forms of payments that I put down. Most people don't do it, but I don't know why I started doing it, but I ain't stopping. So earnest money, that goes to the attorney or the title company. That is a check that you write to basically call open up escrow. The next money I give is a due diligence check. Now, most people's contract, they have 10-day inspections or whatever, but I actually buy that time. So just $100. So I say, here goes $100. This is my due diligence money, and I'm gonna take those 10 days to buy. I'm buying those 10 days basically at $10 a day or whatever it adds up to, whatever. The point is now that I've given them consideration for those 10 days, if I walk away on the 10th day, I bought that time. There's nothing that they can ever go to a judge and say. And that's just because I wanted to protect myself a little bit extra. So that's, and when you sell a house, when you sell a rehab, I mean, in North Carolina, they put down like between $300 and $500 earnest money on a $130,000, $50,000 house. So I feel very fair making $100, due diligence, I think it's very fair for me to put down $100 due diligence on my offer. Make sense? So you get a house under contract and you're gonna sign the deal, just tell them, listen, you actually don't get the earnest money. So think about this. Imagine if I give you the money, then I go to the title company or the attorney and your house has a bad title. Do you keep my $3,000 or am I have to fight you for it? So that money goes to the attorney, which is a neutral party, and that if I don't execute the contract as I stated, then that is your right to that money. So you don't, Mr. Seller, you don't actually get the money. Make sense? Cool. So Antoine back now? Yeah, please, thank you. Or tequila, same thing.
How you Max?
I'm doing well.
Good, thanks. Good question for you. I have a house that I'm currently working on, and the house is currently sitting on one parcel, but it has 3 other parcels that the owner is trying to get rid of. The septic tank is on next property, garages, the property, and she has a free lot. So I don't how I should work.
So I think basically he says he has a property, but it's got like 4 separate lots. House is on one, septic is on one, the garage is on another, and a free lot with nothing. I don't think you do anything with that from where I am. Those parcels are basically needed for that one house. You can subdivide it, but what? This is a question. We're having a debate now. No, this is a question. Who said that? So what happens if the tank is on the other lot?
No, when you subdivide it, so say you got everything all spread out, I don't know how big the land is. You take that into consideration as to what's selling in that area for that specific square footage of land. You remove that garage, and garages are in that area, and you subdivide it and you sell the different parcels, or you build on those different parcels. Maybe you only subdivide it into 2, not 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm basically on wholesale, but I just gotta figure out how to.
Is it separate deeds for each parcel? Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that.
3, 4 different types.
So what was the answer?
So if it's on multiple parcels and they each have separate tax records, you have to sell each one separate.
So you need 4 contracts.
Well, you can put them on the same contract.
Yeah.
If it's all like connected, or if you feel like different developers are gonna want different pieces, then you can do 4 separate.
But my big question is, the septic tank is on a whole nother lot. Huh? You gotta leave that together, because if you sell me the lot, you're gonna have to pay to flush your toilet if I buy that. Yeah. So you're gonna get easement rights, I guess. I ain't gonna give you easement rights and paying to flush the toilet.
Okay, one more question. So I came across a non-for-profit who's willing to sell some of their properties. And I don't know where I'm going with this question, but when I spoke to the gentleman, they have a series of 16 properties under one loan under their non-profit. And I'm only making an offer on 2 separate properties, but he said that it's going to the one loan. Not that that's any of my business. I don't really think I care about that. But can I do that? It's one loan, 16 properties, and I only want 2. I mean, I don't want 2, I want all of them, but.
So I've never done that, but she said you can do partial payoffs and what? Say it again?
Where's it located?
Where's it located? Baltimore. So that answer still holds up?
Yeah.
So you can do partial.
Partial payoffs for the 2, even though they're on the same loan, they're probably in a portfolio loan, and you can get specific payoffs for each property.
Okay, so even if I make an offer on 16 of the properties, it's still 16 separate offers to pay off one loan?
Yeah, I mean, it depends which ones have actual loans. So only 2 of the 16 have loans, or all 16 have?
You said it's one loan, 16 properties.
So if you're gonna, so just make one big offer, add it up.
But if you just want the 2, right, let's say that you said you want all 16, but realistically, let's say you just want 2, you would get contracts for just those 2, and then you would order, the title company would order partial payoffs for just those 2.
What she said. Y'all see why we hang out? They got information too.
Last question. A friend of mine, I was in a bidding war. Well, it wasn't a friend at the time. I met him after he won the war on a property. So I went to the property and talked to him for a while. Come to find out he's an older gentleman. He got money. But he's trying to do this work by himself on his property. And he looking bad.
Yes.
So I don't know. He asked me all kind of questions. And I'm like, yeah, I can get you the information. I don't know all the answers. So I'm gonna ask you. Right now, he basically is like, man, him and his son, man, found his house and he's over, bro. So I'm like, man, you can pay people to do this. All kinds of people here that do this work for you, you know, while you sleep. He's like, oh, well, show me how.
Hard money? I don't know which way to tell him to go because he owns the house now. So I don't know if you can still do that. He owns, if you gotta go different method to take this, he owns the house.
So wait, he don't got no money?
Yeah, he got the money, but I don't know. He not putting it towards paying people. He rather pay him. But he'll put a down payment on a loan if he can get this.
I think the best thing, I wouldn't try to teach nobody how to do construction.
We got 10 more minutes.
We got 10 more minutes?
Yeah, I don't want to teach him.
Oh, it's 9 o'clock already? He last one? Man, you can fit here and there, man. One more. I don't care. I don't own this place. I wouldn't worry about trying to teach them how to get, contractors. But if he got money, he need to be paying people for that.
That's what I said.
You just need to network with him and tell him stop buying dumb deals and tell him you can do better things with his money.
Well, he got it for $150. It's worth $500, but he's sitting there trying to do it himself.
Yeah, he gonna.
He asked me to come help.
He gonna pass away in that house. Yeah.
He said put some beans up.
Yeah. Tell him you don't do that. Yeah. I wish I could have a better answer, but yeah, just be friends with him. Yeah.
I'm trying to.
All right. Cool. We got 3 more.
Good evening.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. My name is Jamari Green. I'm a recent college graduate. I'm from South Carolina. And when you introduced yourself, it was one thing that you said that really stuck out to me. It was the importance of having a mindset. And as a young black man, I think it's extremely commendable that you've achieved that amount of success that you have at such a young age.
Thank you.
So I guess. And I guess as a recent college graduate, I think that for many of us, it's so easy for us to get discouraged. So what are some strategies that you kind of leverage to kind of help you get to the mentality of where you are to really just be able to achieve millions and just be as successful as you are at such a young age?
I think that's a great question. Hopefully I have a great answer. One thing is I would look at somebody that you want to be. And that could be somebody locally. Hopefully it's somebody you from this? I
live here, but I'm from South Carolina.
Okay, so find somebody in the business world or wherever world you want to be in that you want to be. And do anything to be around that person. For me, it was a guy named Mr. Fromberg. And Mr. Fromm, he was just a local guy, right? So just a local guy. And I did anything he wanted me to do just to be around him, to pick up his mannerisms. And the conversations that we would have in the car from one place to another really had to, because I have immigrant parents. And let's face it, most of our parents don't know shit, right? And I'm not saying in a bad way, it's just real, So they've passing on generational curses that they just don't understand. They don't understand credit, they don't understand this, they don't understand that. So you have to go be around somebody you want to be like. And I think being around that person, you start to pick up habits of things that they do every day. And just the way they think and the way they see things is way different than our parents seeing it, right? So being able to just be around people that you like and go outside. This is very important to anybody that wants to grow. You have to go outside of what you normally do, right? And I don't care if that's taking the long way home from work to drive through the fancy neighborhood that you want to live in 5 years. Make that trip. I remember on Sundays, I used to drive around the neighborhood off Country Club Road with $2 million houses, hoping they wouldn't call the cops on me. But it gave me inspiration that I knew that right down the street, somebody can do it, why can't I? Right? So just start changing the things you do. I just try to, everything you do now, do the opposite. Seriously, everything. If you watch sports, don't watch any. You watch TV, don't watch any. Right? If you have 5 friends, go get 1. You see what I'm saying? Do everything the opposite, the way you've been taught and the way you're doing things now. And the reason is what do you got to lose? what are you, like 22, 21? 24? You have nothing to lose, right? You still can mess up for the next 10 years and you're gonna be right where I'm at right here. Right? So, you got it. You're welcome. You're welcome. And you're halfway smart because you graduated college, I couldn't even go, so, I mean, you already got a head start. You're welcome.
Hey, how you doing, Max?
I'm doing good, thank you.
It's fun to meet you, and I'd like to thank you for everything you've done. I've been from since 2018.
Thank you.
I was a graduate at the time, and so, correct. But the question I have is, I'm dealing with a seller. She has 3 properties. Her husband passed away, and she's in Virginia. But property here in Baltimore. Property here in Baltimore. So one is in pre-foreclosure, one is a tax delinquent, and one is just, I don't know. So I've been calling the city, and I'm just trying to find answers of how I can craft this deal to satisfy the city debt.
So you have somebody that lives somewhere else, and say it again, somebody passed away?
Her husband passed away.
Yeah.
She had 3 properties here in Baltimore. It was supposed to be 1, but ended up being 5.
Okay.
So one is tax delinquent, one is probate, and one is pre-foreclosure.
Got it. So you do deals in Baltimore all the time, for real, raise your hand. If you do deals in Baltimore all the time. So he has a complex problem that is probably more locally geared as who does he talk to when a house is in tax delinquency. Somebody passed away, husband passed away, they have property in Baltimore. One is in pre-foreclosure, so we know what to do with that one. One is in tax foreclosure, so we know what to do with that one, and one is just sitting there chilling, right? So these are all things that these are all things that have a ticking time bomb on them. And because you don't have the experience, you need to team up. Because you don't have the experience, you need to team up with somebody that knows to go to these resources very quickly. Because you can miss a house in a pre-foreclosure, and then you can lose it to a tax auction, right? So you need to come up with a solution so that you can go back to this widow, right? So you can go back to the widow with a solution for her problem that it's a win-win for everybody. So once again, Baltimore, hit them up. We got to be out of here in 2 minutes. We got to be out of there. So make the network work. Make it.
Thanks, man.
How you doing, bro?
My name is Joe. I'm from New Jersey. First off, just want to say thanks.
Thank you.
I've been following you since 2017. End of 2017, I lost my job and started wholesaling and been able to do deals consistently. But right now, I want to get to the point where I want to scale to get to 6 figures. So what advice would you give me outside of all the different things I use, like PopStream and different marketing strategies?
Yeah.
What would you use to get to that point?
So I think this is, and I've said it before, and I think this still applies to you. How many people in your company?
Just me. And I have a partner.
Great. So you were in a position where you're doing great. You're a one-man team and you're trying to scale. You're a one-man team and you're trying to scale. From this point right now, when you go home today, start documenting all your processes on how you are successful now. Put these things in video format, written format, so that when you make your next hire, you have these processes outside of your head. That was a mistake that I made when I started hiring. I didn't have these all written down, so when I started to hire, I went in this low part where I had to train, and deals stopped coming in as frequently. But I'm telling you now, if you document all your processes, create SOPs, which is standard operating procedures for each thing, right? Network, every time I go there you go. Got to create systems for everything, right? So document your systems so that you can scale. When you hire people, you know exactly who to hire and what they're supposed to do to continue, because you can't duplicate yourself. So the closest next thing to that is hiring somebody with half of the effort that you have. Make sense? Congratulations on your success, though. Absolutely. So I think that's it, right? So we have to get out of here, but we can go in there, right? All right, so I just want to give these guys right here a round of applause for putting this together.
I gotta hurry up. My phone on 1%.
100%.
Oh, you better get it.
Put my shades on
You
so
better
we match
get it. You better get it.
Last time you came to Baltimore,
I remember now. I remember,
you
yeah.
gave me some tips on probate, right?
Yeah.
So I'm about to close on my third probate deal, man.
Isn't it crazy how this shit work? It's just
Like,
do
I had no idea. You told me about, hey, you know, my person down the street said your house might be, you know, up this. I remember.
And it worked. That's cool, man. I'm glad you put to action.
Watch your videos, your posts.
Your inspiration, brother.
Thank you, man.
Like,
Thank
I've
you.
been following you since March. I don't watch every video you post, brother.
Appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that.
I just want to have a picture with you.
So you gonna do that birth strategy, huh?
I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about trying it, but I'm also wholesaling too.
What's up, man? How you doing, brother? Good to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise, man. You from Baltimore?
No, I'm from Virginia.
Virginia, okay. Y'all came up here. Okay, that's what's up, man. Okay. Appreciate it. Y'all doing deals yet?
Yeah, we just got our first deal in the contract.
That's what I'm talking about. Make sure you get with the right people, sell it fast.
Yeah, we're trying to network with people.
Yeah, do that. That's for sure. Do that for sure. Absolutely.
You got any advice you give like a 21-year-old yourself?
Bro, listen, y'all are way ahead of the curve, man. When I say way ahead of the curve, I was 21, I was in Afghanistan. So you way ahead of, you see, 21s in here. So what are your friends doing right now? Not this shit, right? So you way ahead of the curve. Just keep at it. Don't get distracted. Keep doing it, man. I appreciate it. Keep doing it. I'm glad to see y'all hustling, man, doing the right thing. For sure.
Mr. Maxwell.
How you doing, sir?
What's going on?
Good to meet you, brother. You doing all right?
Yeah. Stumbled across you by accident.
I like that.
Watched a video on Breakfast Club with Mark Whitten.
Yeah.
He was talking about wholesaling. I said, let me start looking at this wholesaling thing. And a whole lot of your damn business.
Thank that guy right there. But this is my guy that got Dave. So he runs the whole team, yeah.
Okay. 3 questions, real quick. One, you just really starting out.
Yeah.
And I already know, because my wife and I, we've been talking about it and whatnot. It's like, yo, we ready to get out this 9 to 5. Just ready to change up some stuff. You know, what can you give me? And I'm already driving for dollars.
Yeah.
And actually, I like it.
Yeah, I still do it.
I'm sorry, I like it. I don't know what anybody's talking about.
Yeah.
But what could you give me, man? Just kind of that extra oomph, you know?
You know, it's hard, right? But I think, I mean, look at these young dudes before us. You know, imagine when we were 21. You know, but we got the sauce now, and I think that's what matters. Is we got the sauce right now, and it's not too late. So I think.
I just turned 43.
See, that's what I'm saying. But I'm telling you, it's an accelerator. This business and learning real estate and learning all this stuff and teaching. I'm telling you, man. I don't just say it like I don't got out here to sell nobody, but I'm telling you, you stay consistent, and that first deal. That first deal is you and your wife gonna be like, oh, it's on like a pot of neck rolling, man.
That's my problem.
Yeah.
My consistency of being inconsistent.
Yeah. You gotta tell yourself nothing else matters right now. You know, start slowly taking away the stuff that don't really add value to your life. I'm telling you, you'll get there very quick, man. You just gotta change some shit. I know we program, and at our age, it's hard to change anything that we doing.
Yep.
So
you ain't speaking to the choir.
Yeah. So do that, man.
So my other question is, what are you doing for your beer regimen?
Man.
So first of all, I'm Jamaican too.
Likewise, yeah, man.
Yeah, man. So the very first video I saw of you was a dude named Kareem.
Yeah, Kareem. Yeah, from
My
Florida.
name is also Kareem. So when I saw that video, it was like you were literally speaking to me in future tense.
I like that.
So it hit me in my heart and soul.
Yeah.
You're dyslexic.
Yeah.
My older brother's dyslexic.
Yeah.
Both Jamaican. Like the only reason I'm doing this, dog, is because I want to like retire my mom. I don't for the money.
Dog, listen, it's the same. It's the same thing I did. It's the same thing I did for sure. Hey, hit me up on the gram and stuff like that.
One deal away.
Yes, sir.
I just want to tell you an inspiration to me.
Thank you so much, sir.
Trying to get over that analysis paralysis. When you said it, I was like, damn. Man.
You can get over it though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. My dude, man. Good meeting y'all, bro. I love the energy, man. For sure. Good, man. Good to meet you, brother. What do you want? Blooper reel or something?
See what happens.
Yeah, I know.